Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. So this is going to be my Agent Carter episode 5 video. It was creepy in the best possible way. I think I already mentioned the Black Widow stuff in last week's video. I'm always happy to see the Howling Commandos again. It's so much fun. Remember, Nick Fury was a Howling Commando and Trip's father, Trip from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Okay, so just careful for spoilers if you haven't seen the episode yet, starting with top 5 moments. Number 5, flashback to Black Widow school. If it wasn't totally clear from the way they cut the episode from the edits, the person we saw in the flashback that killed her friend, that was probably Dottie. How awesome is it that they played that Snow White clip to teach them how to be super waspy housewives? Every time we see Dottie from now on, it's just going to be that much more fun. Dottie with her crazy eyes. The Snow White thing actually reminded me that Disney owns Marvel, so they get to use Disney IP, or at least it's a lot easier for them to. That's why we had the Pinocchio song on top of the Avengers trailer. The really interesting thing about this Black Widow school is that they implied that it's tied to Leviathan. Leviathan is a Russian organization, but in the comics, the Black Widow program is more of a KGB thing, so either they're changing that from the comics, or they're going to tie Leviathan to the Russian government somehow. For now, it seems like they're a splinter group, like Hydra was with the Nazi Party. Hydra was born out of the Nazi Party, but then Red Skull took them in like a completely different direction. Moving on to number 4, welcome back Howling Commandos. As much fun as it was seeing all the Howling Commandos back, this was really important for Peggy's relationship with Agent Thompson. He gets to experience her in another peer group that actually respects her. That's why you could see Dum Dum Dugan giving her all those funny looks whenever Agent Thompson was being super misogynistic, at least before Peggy saved him. If you ever wonder what the Howling Commandos are up to normally, they're just like a normal military regiment. They got the name the Howling Commandos just because they're super badass. So they're still subject to the orders of the military, so they just go wherever they're sent. Based on the relationship between the military and the SSR right now, I don't know if we're going to see them again before the finale, because it sounds like the military doesn't want to have anything to do with this Project Havoc stuff. Moving on to number 3, Project Havoc Explained. So we finally found out what's going on at the Battle of Finau. What probably happened is Stark designed a device for the military as part of his R&D contract. That became Project Havoc. The military tested it, it killed a whole bunch of people. Stark got pissed because they wanted to use it as a weapon, and he didn't think it should be used that way. That's probably what the falling out was about, the reason he punched the general. It's like it was never planned to be a weapon. It was designed as something else, for some other function, and ended up causing this huge massacre. I'm inclined to believe Dr. Ivchenko, the engineer, that they stole the plans from Stark. Stark didn't give them to him. Thompson is still trying to cast him down on it. I wondered after that explanation if they were going to be like, okay, well, Stark has nothing to do with it now, so we're going to get off his case. I guess that's not going to happen. I guess Stark's not totally off the hook yet. It's totally possible that someone close to Stark got a hold of the plans and gave them to Leviathan. If you look at the description for episode 6 for next week's episode, it just says Peggy finds out the danger is closer to home than she thought. It makes it sound like the villain, like the true villain of the series, is going to be someone we've already met. I know I want to believe it's Ray Wise's character just because he typically plays really big, bad, evil characters, but it could totally be someone we don't expect. Of all the characters that it could be, of all the Russian characters it could be, Vanko is at the top of the list, but I don't know necessarily that it's him. I haven't seen a lot of other evidence pointing to him yet. You guys can let me know who you think it might be, the enemy that's closer to home, so to speak. We're about halfway through the series, so we're getting ready for like the third act twist. That's usually what you see before the final act of a series. They reveal who the villain is. One of the big complaints against Agent Carter right now is that there really is no clear villain. I mean, Leviathan is arguably the villainous organization, but we don't have a face to put that name on yet. Moving on to number 2, Agent Sousa figures out who Peggy is. It was a little unclear from all the detective work he did. It seems like he actually did figure out who Peggy was. He just matched up the bullet wounds and Peggy's records in that picture he has. But in the description for next week's episode, it says that he's still trying to figure it out. I guess he's just looking for definitive evidence, or he's going to confront Peggy with the evidence. It seems pretty clear based on the way they keep throwing those two characters together that he's going to help Peggy, but not until he confronts her about all the Stark stuff she's been doing. So they'll have it out, and then he'll probably start helping her from the inside. And yes, I think based on the moments that they're sharing, that he is going to be the man she ends up marrying. It may have been in Winter Soldier, but I think Captain America himself said that he saved Peggy's husband during the war. I don't remember if Sousa's revealed that, if Captain America is the one that saved him. He lost his leg, but he said he was injured and then just woke up in a hospital. So someone saved him. I feel like it's going to be Captain America. It'll be like the big surprise twist. You guys can let me know what you think about his character, but I feel like right now, there's not much going on with him. He only exists inside this mission to find out who Peggy is. And my number 1 moment, Dottie gets super creepy in Peggy's room. Don't you just wonder, after she sat down at that mirror and spoke in that creepy Peggy voice, if she was going to try to assume Peggy's identity at some point? Maybe that's actually how Agent Sousa is going to help. Maybe he'll recognize Dottie in the SSR and take her down. They're really leaning on this Black Widow theme with Dottie. And if you remember in Winter Soldier, part of Black Widow's MO was to take on other people's identity. She had the super face tech where she could literally mimic the faces of other people, but I feel like Dottie's going to do her 1940s version of that. So here's my big question for you guys. Do you think that Dottie is going to try and masquerade as Peggy? And who do you think it is that's connected to Leviathan that stole those plans from Stark? Right now, my top candidate is still Ray Wise's character. I think it'll be a bigger twist than that. And I used to think it might be Agent Thompson, but after that moment he shared with Peggy, he just got way more human. Like he admitted to her, yeah, I killed all these innocent people that were waving the white flag. I don't know necessarily that the Leviathan person will be someone from inside the SSR, like it's not going to turn out to be Agent Dooley, but I do think it's going to be someone we've already met. Just to mention a few of the Easter eggs I saw in the episode. So whenever Peggy is moving down the stairs in that Leviathan base, or the Black Widow school, it actually reminded me of the scene in the Avengers 2 trailer with Captain America infiltrating the Hydra base. Most of the time, the references I see in Agent Carter are references to the original Captain America movie, just because they take place in the same time period. But every once in a while I wonder if they're trying to tie things to the future Marvel films. And the friend that Dr. Ivchenko killed, the other Russian friend that was in that prison with him, I feel like he was an Inhuman. I feel like that's what he meant when he was talking about the way he sees the world as different from the rest of us. I was really hoping we get to see him use his ability. So something really cool to look forward to. I feel like we're going to get to see Havoc in a future episode. We'll get to see the weapon go off again. I feel like they wouldn't spend all that time talking about it and then not show it to us. So be sure to subscribe to get next week's episode. I know it's been a little while since I've done a Marvel movie video, but I just did the Daredevil trailer. If you haven't seen it yet, you can actually click here to watch it, and you can click here to catch up on Arrow and The Flash from this week. Thank you so much for watching, so let's all high five. I'll see you guys tomorrow.